We're ending our month on recapping the fundamentals of the science of mind and the work of Ernest Holmes. Next month we go into a return to love, sowing seeds of love. But now the question we have to end with, how to use it. Now, the thing I want to say is that you have always been using it. You cannot not use it. It is being used by you. And it's being used by you consciously or unconsciously, and being used by you for good or not so good. So the question really isn't how to use it. The question really is how to use it wisely, how to use it intentionally, how to use it purposefully. So for those who are new or haven't been here all month, we've recapped the thing itself, which is God or spirit or love or the quantum field of unlimited possibilities or the infinite something, the universal intelligence. It does not matter in any way what we call it. As Aubrey said one day to me, I call it Gus. Which is very funny, right? It doesn't really matter. So Ernest Holmes called it the thing itself, first cause, that which is in back of everything. The reading today and Ralph's song just now really was the whole sermon, and we could just eat. We could just cut to the chase and eat. But I told you I had to do at least 6 minutes. The way it works is it works through mind. It works through thought. How it works is through individual and global thought. So everything seen and unseen, it's not an accident. You know, things do not fall from the sky. Like we thought everything into existence. And if we don't like what we thought into existence, well, take the foundations class. Shameless, I know. But you know what I mean. If you don't like your life, if you don't like life, if you don't like what's happening, then we just use the thing itself, the law of cause and effect, this power that we have to think, knowing with certainty that that which we are thinking, if we think it long enough, strong enough, committed enough, dedicated enough, it will come to pass. There are people in this room, I give testimony, there are people in this room who could give testimony that this is how it works. Now, it's not always easy, but it's a sure thing if you work it. So our relationship to God has always been a little funny, and here's what it is. Dear God, please give me this. Please fix this. Please smite them. Please bring me money. Please, I need a new home, right? So that kind of relationship to the thing itself is as if the thing itself was our servant, and that is sitting there waiting to do our bidding. Do you know how ridiculous that is? Do you know how tired she would be if it was her job to satisfy the requests and the demands of 8 billion people? It doesn't work that way. Can you see the logic? So rather than using God as our servant, we have 2 choices. One is we can let ourselves be used as a servant to the infinite intelligence and beauty and love and wisdom that governs this universe. We are its servant in truth. And when we are that, our life flows like an unimpeded river. Because it's the good for you, the perfection of your life has already happened. It's already been given. It's already ordained in the mind and the heart of God. Now, that's a very mature spirituality, to let your life be lived, to let spirit live through you. So in the meantime, we just want to get more intelligent about our intelligence. We want to practice. We want to practice. We want to practice the presence of God. Repeat it after me. I want to practice the presence of God. Now, what does that mean, practice the presence of God? Well, it's true, is it not, that if you wanted to be a great pianist, what would you have to do? If you wanted to be a great athlete, what would you have to do? You'd have to practice. Nothing, you know, I mean, every once in a while you have a Beethoven or a Mozart who comes out of the womb with symphonies in their head, but that's a pretty rare event. Could be said, and is said, that all great art, all great music, all great scientific discovery, all great anything isn't because the human being was so smart or so great. Because we're all just human beings, right? But everything there is to be known is already in the mind of God. All knowledge, all information, all blueprints, everything. And so we operate as, we live as channels for that, we download what's already there. So great art, great music isn't necessarily from the ego part of man, or men and women, but from the God part. There is a receptivity. So practice, practice, practice. So here is the practice. So how can you practice this even when you're not sure, like you still may have doubt, or you may not be on board with these ideas, or whatever. You know, your life may still be a mess, and it's okay if it is. It actually is totally okay if it is, but it doesn't have to be, because you can use it to change what you consider not exactly what you want to be something different. So so first, just begin by noticing. Noticing what you're noticing. And here are some areas you can do that. Are you expecting good or bad? So noticing how you roll in life. Negative expectation or positive expectation? Do you expect life to work out for you or not? Do you expect to get that job? Do you expect your body to heal? Do you expect that person to like you? Or are you coming from nothing good happens to me? I really want this, but I never get what I want. And you can start just by noticing, where do you come from? Because I promise you that wherever it is you come from is the creative factor in your life. Where are you in time? Just notice. On any given moment, you're driving in your car, say, oh, I think I'm going to notice. Am I in the past or am I in the future? Or am I here now? If you're here now, what's true is that you will have fewer accidents, fewer falls, fewer mistakes, fewer mishaps. Why? Because being in the present moment gives you access to the world around you. Being in the past and being in the future too much causes you to not be paying attention. Yes? In any interaction, were you kind and compassionate, or were you just nasty? Or rude? And listen, this is just a notice. Do you take the opportunity to be compassionate and kind over being dismissive or meeting what meets you with? So if somebody is in front of you and they're nasty, are you nasty back? Or do you practice kindness and compassion? Monitor who you are in terms of complaining. So when you're sitting with your mom or your spouse or your girlfriends or your buds, are you complaining? Or are you praising? Are you uplifting or are you tearing down? Because the universe runs on love and praise. The universe, flowers bloom when the sun comes out. So in truth, for me, there is no mystery about why the world's the way it is. None. Why? Because people are in the past and the future, because people are expecting bad things to happen, because people are not always kind and compassionate. And all of those things create. All of those things create conditions and environments and feelings and health or illness in the body. And are you a giver or a taker? There was a Dr. Barbara Waterhouse used to be, she's passed now, but she was the minister at the Asheville Center. And I remember she did a sermon once, and her primary message was, if given the opportunity to be generous, take it. If given the opportunity to be generous, take it. Now, what does that mean? So it could mean anything. You know, it could mean tipping a great waitress, like instead of $1, give her $2. It could be being generous with somebody in your life who's going through a hard time and you don't really like how they're being, right? They're being too sad or too angry or too whatever. But be generous. You know, just let them off the hook. It could be being generous with yourself. How many of you know you're harder on yourself than anyone in your life? Well, stop it. Right? I mean, really, be generous with yourself. Listen, being a human being is not easy. I don't even know that I like it so much. Am I alone? No, I'm not alone. I mean, it's like there is so much craziness and so much stupidity on our planet, sitting right on top of the beauty. You know, I mean, you go to Africa or you go to the beach, and it is so beautiful and peaceful, and then boom, people. I'm not wrong. And I'm not complaining either. I'm simply telling, you know, okay. I'll get yelled at later if I go too much further. It's you guys, it's not me. Listen, there's this energy out there going boom, boom. I'm exhausted. So on top of noticing, then you have practice. This is why we're here. I'm telling you, we're here. I am here with you to study. I am here with you to serve. I'm here with you to love you and to be loved by you. And that is true for all of us, that we're here for each other. So the practice, so you have the noticing, which is Socrates said, know thyself. An unexamined life is not worth living. Thank you, Ralph. An unexamined life is not worth living, simply meaning that if you're not present in your body, knowing yourself, then you're off somewhere trying to fit in a world that is absolutely insane. Why would you want to do that, right? We want to get present. So in addition to noticing, you want to practice. So the practices are well, I put, for me, what seems to be most of them up here. Meditation, obviously. I created Wednesday nights because this community needs a sacred space. And Wednesday nights are that sacred space. There's some beautiful music, some beautiful contemplative readings, but an hour of not really talking to each other, but of just being in the stillness. I encourage you to try it. To connect with nature, get underneath the people, right? Get into contact with an elephant or a tree or a seagull or your cat or flowers or a garden frequently, because it's easier to see the thing itself when you're in nature. Journaling. It's not for everybody. I'm not a great journaler myself, but there's a lot of benefit to letting your thoughts out on paper. You know, a lot of people do what's called a gratitude journal once a day, morning or evening. Simply get a spiral notebook and a pen, and before you go to sleep or before you climb out of bed, just write down everything you're grateful for. Because it creates, that is a thought, that's a way to use the thing itself, is through gratitude. Prayer, obviously, listen, one of the things you'll learn in the foundations class is how to pray the way that you hear us pray. Because it's not a trick. It's not a trick or a technique even. It's just a way, it's just how we align ourselves with that which is good and perfect and whole. Service, serving others. You know, in life, we do have volunteerism. Obviously, you don't have to be here to be a volunteer somewhere. How many of you volunteer somewhere else other than here out in the world at large? Yeah. Serving others is a natural part of our spiritual growth and expression. And we have opportunities here. In fact, well, we're having a little meeting after the service before our potluck, but one of the things that's arising here is outreach. How do we, meaning this tribe of people who are part of this center, how do we impact and serve the people in the greater community? It's beginning to bubble up, so we'll talk more about that later. But service. Study is a critical component for you because you get to be in a, I think Melissa called it a sacred container, where you can be who you are in all of your messiness while you clean up the mess. You know, when I was in my foundations class, as most of you know, I was in a terrible marriage with a wonderful man. And in a job I hated, I was smoking 2 packs of cigarettes a day. My life was a mess. And I got to be in a room full of people whose lives were also kind of in a mess, and we all got to get unmessy together. So study in some way. You know, we had 27 people at the Enneagram workshop yesterday, right? How many of you were here? Fun? Was it fun? Yeah, it's just so much fun, so self-revealing. And obviously gratitude and giving. And giving, by the way, isn't just money. It's also giving of your time, giving of your attention, giving, because here's how we go through life. So how life got to be, this is one of the ways life got to be the way it is. I don't have enough. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough money. When somebody says, oh, can you help me? No, I don't have time. When you live in a mental attitude of I don't have enough, guess what you have? Not enough. Sorry, it truly is just the way it works. So we close our month really in kind of, I think, wonder and awe are very good words to describe the truth about how this universe actually works. And I know that for me, it's the simplicity of it is no longer in question. It's like so simple. And it makes change for me very, very simple, as it will for you. You know, it's like you don't like that, change it. And a lot of us live in this negative expectation. I can't change that. I mean, I can change that. The only way I can change that is if he changes that. He changes and it'll be fine, right? Or they change and then it will be fine. But the very, very good news is that you are in control of your destiny. You are in control of your destiny. We are in control of our destiny. Yes? Yes. All right. So how many minutes have us talked? Ralph, were you keeping track? You said you're going to keep. I'm at perfect. All right. So we are closing this month on sowing seeds of thoughts. It's been a great month for me. I hope it has been for you as well. We're going to do our affirmation, and then I'm going to pray. Then we're going to do our offering, and then we're going to do our beautiful new member ceremony before we close service, which is why I'm cutting it a little bit short today. So here's our affirmation. I'm going to read it first, and then you're going to read it with gusto. But the first time, you just soak it in. You just listen. Today, no. Doesn't matter how you say it, really. All right. Today, I practice being spiritual. I open my heart and my mind, seeking connection with spirit and all living things. I practice to master the art of living, a joy-filled, peace-filled, and loving life, and I do. So it is. And so it is. All right, so let's take a breath, community. So much good here today. But in this breath, we follow the breath that we take into our hearts. Because that's exactly where it goes, right into the center of us. And as we breathe into our hearts, we discover the truth in the thing itself. It's there. The presence of spirit is inside. It is the very essence of our lives, the very essence of our character, the very essence of our past, our future, our present. There is no spot where God is not. The Alpha and the Omega of us and of all life, the center and the circumference of us. And so knowing that we are the very essence and presence of spirit, and that we live in a universe governed by the words we think, and the words we speak, and the words we shout, and the words we sing, whether those words are thoughts in our head, desires of our hearts, secret little longings or feelings, however that word is spoken, it is creative. And so knowing this, I speak my word from my heart for and about you, for about all of us, that we find our sacred center and we cultivate it, we fan it, we cause it to increase and grow, and that doing so begins to affect every aspect of our living. Change is possible. People can and do change. You can and will change. Or you can and will stay the same. It is up to you. And so I am grateful that there is this metaphysical, deeply mystical teaching and knowing and being that we have access to and that we can use. I'm grateful that there's a way, a God-given way, that we can be the captains of our ships. And so I just release this word. I release it into this universe, which I know says yes, never says no, always says yes. And that it has said yes to this prayer on this day, and that we can leave this time together, here and now, happy, curious, and anticipating a wonderful, wonderful future. And so, with this word released and us sitting here in positive expectation, we simply anchor this prayer together by saying, and so it is. Amen.